Look at this person. What do you see? It doesn't matter what title they hold, ruler, president, minister, or doctor. When someone is cruel to an animal, it reveals a profound emptiness in their character, a deep failure of their moral values. Animal cruelty is the ultimate disrespect for life. When a person takes an animal into their care, they accept a responsibility that cannot be passed on to someone else. They become fully accountable for that animal's well-being. The animal depends entirely on them for food, shelter, and love. If someone neglects this sacred duty, they must face the consequences. This neglect is a betrayal of the trust an innocent creature places in them. Life, health, and opportunity are blessings, and with them comes a responsibility to care for those who cannot care for themselves. When this trust is broken, there are profound consequences. Animal cruelty is the intentional act of causing harm, suffering, or neglect to an animal. Some might see it as a private act, something that happens behind closed doors. But its effects ripple out, touching everyone. Cruelty to animals affects our society morally, psychologically, legally, and even environmentally. It chips away at our compassion, blurs our ethical lines, and can even be a warning sign for future violence against people. Understanding these consequences is critical if we want to build a humane, just, and balanced world. At its very core, animal cruelty is a moral failure. As humans, we are the custodians of the natural world. Our ethics demand that we treat all living, feeling beings with care and respect. Acts of cruelty erode empathy. They harden the heart, not just to animal suffering, but to human suffering as well. A person who deliberately harms an animal can become desensitized to pain, seeing violence as a normal, or even trivial, part of life. This moral decay has wide-reaching societal implications. When cruelty is normalized, our ethical boundaries become fuzzy. Think about it. Children who witness or take part in harming animals are more likely to grow into adults who either tolerate or commit violence against other people. This is why cruelty to animals is never an isolated issue. It's a mirror reflecting the moral health and core values of a society. The psychological and behavioral links are undeniable. Scientific studies have shown a strong connection between hurting animals and later committing acts of aggression toward humans. Individuals who abuse animals often display antisocial tendencies, a shocking lack of empathy, and a frightening inability to control their impulses. And what about the human victims of this cruelty? For so many of us, animals are family. Witnessing their suffering can cause deep grief, distress, and lasting trauma. In a broader sense, a community that turns a blind eye to animal cruelty is fostering an environment of fear and mistrust. It's a place where violence, in all its forms, is more easily accepted. Legally, animal cruelty is a crime in many countries, and for good reason. The penalties can range from fines and community service to imprisonment and mandatory counseling. These laws aren't just there to protect animals. They exist to uphold our society's standards of decency and justice. When we fail to enforce these anti-cruelty laws, we send a dangerous message. We signal that exploitation and harm are permissible. This weakens the rule of law and erodes public trust in our institutions. On the other hand, when these laws are strictly enforced, it reinforces our shared ethical norms. It sends a clear message that violence and neglect are unacceptable, no matter who the victim is. Socially, a society that condones animal cruelty often suffers from other problems. These acts can destabilize communities by making aggression seem normal and by diminishing the empathy that holds us together. People may start to prioritize their own self-interest over their ethical responsibilities. This leads to weaker social bonds and a rise in antisocial behavior. Animal cruelty also damages our cultural and spiritual values. Many cultures throughout history have regarded animals as sacred or as essential partners in the balance of life. When cruelty becomes common, we lose that sense of interconnectedness. We lose our respect for life and our reverence for the natural world that sustains us. The damage doesn't stop there. It extends to our environment. Animal cruelty isn't just about individual harm. It can devastate entire ecosystems. Illegal hunting, poaching, and the neglect of wildlife disrupt the delicate natural balance, leading to species decline and even extinction. Even domesticated animals, when mistreated, can impact public health through the spread of disease or by disrupting local ecosystems. This environmental degradation, caused by cruelty and neglect, ultimately has long-term consequences for humanity itself. Protecting animals isn't just a moral duty, it's a practical necessity for our own survival, for environmental sustainability, and for preserving biodiversity. From a spiritual perspective, many traditions teach that cruelty towards animals has karmic repercussions. The belief is that all sentient beings are connected, and that harming one creates a negative energy that will eventually return to the person who caused it. Acts of cruelty create a cycle of suffering that affects the mind, heart, and soul of the perpetrator. It fosters anger, greed, and a deep spiritual disconnection. In contrast, showing compassion to animals cultivates empathy, patience, and inner peace. The energy we put out into the world, whether it's kindness or harm, shapes not only our immediate reality but also our future. So, how do we prevent animal cruelty? It requires a multifaceted approach. We need strong legal enforcement, widespread education, and a shift in cultural awareness. We must teach our children empathy and responsibility towards animals from a young age. We need to advocate for and promote strict animal welfare laws, and we must encourage humane treatment in every setting, in our homes, on farms, and in laboratories. Our communities must wake up and recognize that the welfare of animals is fundamentally inseparable from the health and ethics of our society. The consequences of animal cruelty are vast and destructive. Morally, it erodes our empathy. Psychologically, it fosters aggression and trauma. Legally, it undermines justice. Socially, it weakens the bonds of our communities. Environmentally, it disrupts ecosystems. And spiritually, it creates a heavy karmic debt. Protecting animals is not just a simple act of kindness. It is a profound reflection of our own humanity. It is the ultimate measure of a society's moral and spiritual integrity. By promoting compassion and justice for all living beings, we are not only ensuring the well-being of animals, but also safeguarding the health, stability, and soul of human society itself. Here in South Africa, we've seen heartbreaking examples of this. We have witnessed repeated instances where government officials receive millions of rands in financial assistance. This is taxpayers' money being funneled for personal gain. In some cases, these officials buy farms with government funding and then purchase animals, despite having zero farming experience. One such incident made the news. Government officials bought a farm and started a broiler chicken operation. But when the SPCA arrived, they found a house of horrors. The chickens were 28 days old and had no food. They had become so starved that they started eating each other. The officials had taken the money and simply abandoned the farm, leaving thousands of animals to suffer a slow, agonizing death. Millions of chickens had to be euthanized due to severe malnutrition. This was an act of unimaginable cruelty committed by the very people running the country. One of the individuals involved was even an executive at a major financial institution. This wasn't an isolated case. A few years earlier, a female minister also purchased a farm where animals were left to starve to death. These are high-ranking members of the ruling party. If they show no compassion toward innocent animals, what does that say about their character? What kind of people are they? But you are not powerless. You can play an important role in the fight against animal cruelty. You can make a difference. I've created a course called Time for Justice. This course is specifically designed to guide you, step by step, on how to take cases of cruelty to the highest authorities so that they are properly investigated and addressed. It empowers you to be a voice for the voiceless. Click the link in the description to get your course today. It's time to demand justice. And if you follow the steps and don't achieve the results you were looking for, there's a full money-back guarantee. You have nothing to lose and the animals have everything to gain. Thank you for watching, and thank you for caring.